Haribol, Haribol, Haribol. Dandavat pranams. Hare Krishna. So today is the 7th of April, 2024, and we in Radhakund. Haribol. Okay, Hare Krishna. And we're going, yes, we're in Radhakund, and we're going to travel through Srimad Bhagwatam still towards the Gopi Gita, and we're building our momentum to have the adhikar to enter this Gopi Gita. Okay, so we'll sing a bhajan and then we'll carry on. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Oh Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Girivardhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari O Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari O Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari O Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Rama Rama Hare Hare Oh Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ramo Ramo Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Oh, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol. Oh, Nitai Hey, Nitai Hey, Nitai Hey, oh Nitai Hey. Radhe, 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 Radhe. Jai Shishi Guru Garanga Ganhabika Gridhari. Radha Govinda Dev Ki Jai. Shri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Sachinandana Gaurahari Ki Jai. Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astotarzara Shishimad. Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astotarzara Shishimad. Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astotarzara Shishimad. Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Jagat Guru Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astotarzara Shishimad. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Paramahamsa Mahabhagavat Srila Gaurikishoras Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Saptam Goswami Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Srila Baladevi Dibhushan Gaudi Vedanta Acharya Ki Jai. Jai Srila Vishnath Chakravarti Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Narottam Srinivas Shyamananda Prabhu Traya Ki Jai. Jai Srila Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami Ki Jai. Jai Shri Rup Sanatan Shivat Raghunath, Shijiva Gopal, Bhattadasa Raghunath, Sad Goswami Prabhu's Ki Jai, Jai Swarup Damodar Rai Ramananda Gauda Parsada Ki Jai, Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Siga Holsi Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shri Vasadi, Shri Gauda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Antadvip, Mayapur, Simantadvip, Gautandvip, Madhyadvip, Kauladvip, Ritujip, Janadvip, Motandvip, Rududvip, Atmaka Navadvip, Dham Ki Jai, Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopika Govardhan Dwarasavad Matmika, Shri Braja Mandal Ki Jai, Shri Radha Kund, Shamakund, Ganga Jamuna Devi, Bhakti Devi, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Shrimati Brinda Devi Maharani Ki Jai, Shrimati Yogamaya Purnamasi Devi Maharani Ki Jai, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan Chakra Ki Jai, Kitra Mandal Ki Jai, Gopishwa Mahadev Ki Jai, Sarva Vignasana Sri Nrsingadev Bhagavan Ki Jai, Bhakta Prabha Sri Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai, Chari Dham Ki Jai, Chari Sampradaya Ki Jai, Chari Acharya Ki Jai, Akara Mataraj Sri Chaitanya Mat Ki Jai, Sri Keshav Ji Gaudiya Mat Ki Jai, Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagwatam Ki Jai, Anantakota Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Samagat Bhatta Vrinda Ki Jai, Gaura Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. Om Aginaatimirandasya Gyananjala Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namo Namaha Priya Surupe Daita Surupe Prema Surupe Sahajavirupe Nijana Rupe Prabhueka Rupe Tatana Rupe Swabila Surupe Anapita chirim chirat karunavartino kalo samarapaitam unnata ujvala rasam svabhakti shriyam Hari purata sundarata digatamba sadipita sadahridare kandare spuratu vasachinandanaha Yam prabhajantam anapetyam apetykrityam dvaipayano viraha katara ajuhava putre titam mayatayo taravo vinirustam sarvabhutam nimanatoshmi Bhaktya vihina aparada lakshay shiptascha karmadi tarangamadye kripa maitvam sharanam prapana linde namaste charanaravindam Vajami radam aravinda netram smarami radam madhurashmitasyam Vadami radam karuna baradram tato mamanasti katyana kapi Tavaivasmi najivami tvaivina iti vignaya radhe tvam naimam charanantikam. I'm first of all offering millions and millions of Dandavat pranams unto the lotus feet of my beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishna Om Asto Tadasarashi Shimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And I'm offering the same again millions and millions of times unto the lotus feet of our beloved Nitya Lila Pravishna Om Asto Tadasarashi Shimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada and all our Rupanuga Guru Vargya and all the Vaishnava and Vaishnavi devotees of the Lord. My Dandavat pranams to all of you. So, welcome everybody. Yesterday, we began our approach to Gopi Gita, and I think it's important to appreciate the unique speciality of Gopi Gita and how without the foundational Siddhanta and Tattva of Atma Tattva, how can we understand Rasa Tattva? How are we actually qualified? So, yesterday we began at the first verse of Srimad Bhagwatam, Janmadi Asya Yata Nivyad. And then we discussed what was the Satyam Paramadimahi. We went through these 5 explanations given by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. What is the topic of the Bhagavatam? Where is it carrying us? So there's 5 optional topics, so to speak. The first is the power, the Brahman. Is that the principal topic? And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he proceeds on. So the power is there, the Brahman is there, but this is not the essential focus of the devotee. We get 5 chapters in Srimad Bhagavatam on the Virat Rupa. There's 2 in the 2nd canto and 3 in the 3rd canto. So this is a wonderful base for our absorption in um, the rasa chapters later on, to appreciate the Virat Rupa, how everything, the body of Krishna, it's an imaginary description. It's not um, true, so to speak. All the um, aspects of the creation are um, depicted in the body of Krishna. So this Virat Rupa, why does Shukadeva Goswami take so much time to explain it? 5 times he explains it in the very beginning of the Bhagavatam to give us an all-encompassing appreciation of the energy of the Lord, which is everywhere. It's not separated. So we can't um, just focus on the Rasa Tattva section without appreciating the Atma Tattva section. So then, yesterday also, I read through these beautiful verses of um, Shukadeva Goswami in the 4th chapter of the 2nd canto, which are really very, very beautiful to become absorbed in his mood of devotion. Oh, I have to backtrack. I just explained what was the first topic. So then there are 4 other topics. And the next topic is basically the personal aspect of Radha and Krishna. Not Radha and Krishna, but Lakshmi Narayan. This is the second explanation of Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur. The first is the Brahman, the second is Lakshmi Narayan, and then the third is Radha and Krishna. And then the fourth is the separation between Radha and Krishna. He focuses on this. And then the fifth is remarkably devotion, Bhakti Devi herself. So this is the culmination. And if we have the fortune to study the Sandarbhas, we see the Priti Sandarbha at the end by Jiva Goswami. He's describing all of these um, uh, moods of priti, moods of affection within the Bhagavatam and how it proceeds and connects together. So it's very assuring for the sadhak to have such a logical, rational explanation of the Bhagavatam. At the same time, so many spontaneous um, descriptions within the Bhagavatam itself. So there's both. So there should be the platform, and then the rasa tattva section will build on top of that. Just like in Jivadhamma, we have 25 chapters leading to the Rasa Tattva chapters. There's 14 chapters at the end of Jivadhamma, which is the Rasa Tattva section. But the first 22 chapters are about Sambandha and Abhideya, and then there's 3 chapters just about Nam. There's Nam Tattva, Nam Namabas, and then Shuddhanam at the end. So, in the same way, Bhagavatam is constructed in the same principle. This Bhagavatam is our life and soul. If we haven't had the fortune to enter the Bhagavatam, this is really a great tragedy in life. Our dear Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, he carefully gave us all of his purports, and he called his purports my divine ecstasies. This is how he was feeling when he was um, preparing, when he was presenting his purports, his divine ecstasies. And all of the purports of all of the principal acharyas, Sridham Swami, Jiva Goswami, Krishnadas Kaviraj, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, these are all describing the apurushaya nature. This Bhagavatam is not written by man. Vyasadeva, he saw this in his trance. And yesterday we discussed also about Narad coming to relieve Vyasadeva of his despondency. There's 3 chapters describing Vyasadeva's despondency, 4, 5, and 6 in the first canto. He puts that in the first canto to make his platform for his further descriptions. Without this principle of Guru Tattva, which is what Vyasadeva is expressing in these um, chapters 4, 5, and 6 in his own relationship with Narad and his despondency, and how Narad is able to dispel that. Not only dispel it, but in the 7th chapter, he bestows upon him this samadhi basya, this vision, where he sees the entirety of the 10th canto. And I explained yesterday how Vyasadeva had already compiled the first 9 cantos before he had that samadhi basya, before he had that injection from Narad. He'd already written those 9 cantos. But then when he saw that Supreme Lord getting bound by Mother Yashoda, etc., this completely changes the vision of who is Krishna. My Gurudev used to say to us, your Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, he has come to tell you that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but I have come to tell you that he's not. So we understand, he's not the Supreme Personality of Godhead in Braj. Definitely he's not. Madhumangal will make so many jokes with him. We read in Vidagdha Madhav, Krishna is playing his beautiful flute. The rocks are melting. The cows, the grass has dropped out of their mouths. Jamuna Devi, she's actually become stagnant. She's still. And there's all this atmosphere has been charged around the sound vibration of Krishna's flute. And Madhumangal, he pushes Krishna. He says, hey, don't think that you're doing all this. This is your flute that's doing this. Don't become proud of this. This is what Madhumangal can say to Krishna. How can you say that to the Supreme Personality of Godhead? It's just amazing, the sweetness and the familiarity. This is Madhurya. And it's only in Braj. Krishna, he's described as Mugdata. He doesn't know his Godhead. And he's Sarvagya, which means he's all-knowing, simultaneously, at the same time. He's both of these states of consciousness, simultaneously, at the same time. So this is Achintya Bhav. Again, we cannot understand this, but we can appreciate it. We hear it and we can appreciate it. And we carry this teaching into our attraction to Krishna. Because we discussed yesterday this 5th proposition of devotion, of bhakti. This is the current that's riding through the Bhagavatam. This is the current that we are looking to connect with significantly in our hearts. And then that connection will bring us the absolute success in life. No doubt that success will manifest. So yesterday, after reading those chapters loaded with devotion of Shukadev, because how are we going to put our faith in the speaker of the Bhagavatam, who is Shukadev Goswami, until we understand the depth of his bhakti? What is the depth of his devotion? So he expresses that in that 4th chapter, in those verses we discussed yesterday. And then we go even further. We come to the 9th chapter of the 2nd canto again. And the 9th chapter is the Chatushloki, which begins with the 33rd chapter, 33rd verse. Aham eva sam eva gre. So I'm just going to read the translations of these 4 seed verses, these Chatushloki verses, just to give us some bearings, to make us appreciate that this rasa lila pastime, which is the absolute crest jewel of all Krishna's pastimes, is built on such a solid foundation. If we have this solid foundation, we can never deviate. If we go into the Sahajya realm, what does Sahajya mean? It means imitation. And individuals are sometimes very, what do you call, daunted is the word in English. I don't know how you say that in Hindi or Bengali, but sort of like in awe of the um, journey of this Brajabhav where we are going to. And they feel, I can't make it in the they feel their own inadequacies, and they feel I'm not qualified to actually come to this path. So then I'll make an imitation of it. Do you understand what I'm saying? We start to sort of make pretend that we know this path when actually we don't know this path. And that pretense, that's called sahajism. This is when we imitate rather than stay on the beautiful foundation of the Bhagavatam. If we deviate from there, Mahaprabhu himself, who is the only one giving us this, we discussed yesterday, would listen to the Bhagavatam daily from none other than Gadadhar Pandit. Gadadhar Pandit is directly Sri Radhika, directly in every way, but in a different mood. He's covered only in a dasya bhav. Radhika's mood by nature is Bhaumya bhav. This means contrary. She knows that is what is going to inspire Krishna's attraction for her, which is what she's only made of that idea to satisfy Krishna's calm, basically, his desires in every single way. Shakti Tattva is this. Was it Radha Puna Shakti? Krishna Puna Shakti Man. Due Veda Vedastu? Yes, Shastra Praman. This is the Shastric appreciation. Shakti Tattva is another beautiful consideration, but that's not written here in this Bhagavatam where we are. So, yes, this imitation, we mustn't, it's not going to bear the highest fruit. It may seem in the short term that you'll get lots of acclaim or reputation or something like that, which is worthless. What is that to the soul? Yudhisthira Maharaj, he says at the end of the Mahabharat war, he says all these people, the only purpose in their existence was to create another reputation for themselves in this life. And this is how it is with most people. We're trying to build our various reputations in this world, and we're living our life on the strength of that. But all of this at the time of death is just washed away. It's ephemeral, it's meaningless. So this Sahajism it falls into that category. Why should we even think to go into that imitation world? If we hold to the powerful truth, the truth vibration is so potent it can crack walls practically. It'll crack the consciousness to allow the sprout of pure bhakti to rise. But it has to be in the heart. I think there's 750 nadis. Do you understand that from Ayurveda? These nerve ends are in the heart. And it's only in one of those nadis at the time of death that we hope to connect with and to vacate this mortal body and come to our Vastu Siddhi stage. The Swarup Siddhi is in this life, but the Vastu Siddhi is when we leave this body. So this imitation is of no value to you, but it might be appearing that way because it seems to be attractive to other people. We have to appreciate our own singular identity is not connected with what the crowd thinks about us, so to speak. In English, there's an expression that 3 million drunks are not necessarily correct. So if they're all going one way, it doesn't mean I have to go that way too. So my Gurudev would often say, if the whole world is going that way, but my Gurudev is on this side, I am this side. We have to find our individuality. And that is where the strength is. That is where the power is. That is where truthfulness is. So this Sahajism is not in that place. That's in the other place. That's in the external. So we must be cautious for that. So these verses, This aham eva sam eva gre. This is the first verse of the Chatushloki. And it's saying, before the creation of this world, only I existed. Krishna gives the entirety of the whole Bhagavatam in these 4 verses. The Acharyas, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Bhaktivedanta Swami, they've unpacked these verses in 7 or 8 pages commentary. They're so significant, these verses. I'm just going to read the translations for our appreciation today to understand where we're going. We're going to the crest jewel of all Krishna's pastimes. So we're preparing ourselves, just like you don't walk into a PhD class until you've done your various graduation through all the other levels of education. You're not qualified. How is it possible? So we should be like that, understanding. Today, it's a very confusing time because the demons are completely in control. This is Kali Yuga. Don't in any doubt that it's demon control time. I had a friend today come and visit me. He's a vet, a cow vet, and he does cow saver everywhere in Braj in particular. And he's telling me how the government themselves are not restricting the slaughter of cows. Mr. Modi might say so many benevolent things, but still he doesn't. Still, India is number 2 or number 3 in the world for beef export, plus cow skins. This is shame on India, where the whole world knows that India, in the Western world where we come from, we are aware that actually India reveres the cows, but they don't anymore. The Dharmic population, which is many of the people, the simple country people, they all honor the cows. But is he okay? You found a seat? So don't be in any confusion that this is the demon era. This is their time. But within this darkness is the incredible light of mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which didn't exist in the other 999 Kali Yugas of the day of Lord Brahma. It was never there. Anapita chirim chirat. Not for a long, long time has this mercy been bestowed upon the jiva. That means 8,640,000,000 years. That's the day and the night of Lord Brahma. That was when this mercy was last bestowed. So this is an incredible time. At the same time, it's the darkest Kali Yuga with the most mischievous, malicious activities going on by the demons. So anyone should be surprised about it. We should see, yes, this is demon country, demon land, and just accept it and carry on with our process nicely. And by Krishna's mercy, we will be protected fully. If our sincere desire is to connect in bhakti, in seva with the Lord. So here, Krishna is expressing his omniscience, his all-pervasive, like I just described 10, 15 minutes ago about the Virat Rupa. This is on the same wavelength as the Virat Rupa. Krishna is saying that before there was anything in existence, only I existed. The gross and subtle up to the indefinable Brahm. In other words, the cause, Sat, and the effect, Asat, did not exist before me. Krishna, he's saying. Nothing other than I existed, Aham. He's saying Aham all the time. Why is he saying this? Because our inclination is to go into the impersonal. We have come from the impersonal Brahman. This is where we were manifested from. And when we made that decision to be attracted to the external rather than to be attracted to the internal, reflective stage, that inner stage, at that point, by that external attraction, we came into the body of Mahavishnu. Then from the body of Mahavishnu, we know the story. Shambhu carries the glance into the Adara Shakti, etc., etc. But it began in the Brahmajyoti. So we have had an eternal experience of the Brahmajyoti. We've already had it. So it's very easy for us just to lean back into that impersonal conception because we're familiar with it. We've been there. My soul has already been there. It's not new terrain. It's not new country. My soul has already been there. So when the impersonal proposition arises, I can very quickly go in that direction. And we should know, especially from Brihat Bhagavatamrita, I think I mentioned yesterday, when Gop Kumar, on his journey, he goes into that impersonal place. And it's very wonderful. It's all shantaras. It's all peaceful. There's no more material desires. There's no more hankering. Brahma Bhuta Prasanatmana Sochati Kanchati. Everything is so blissful and beautiful. If you want to look sometimes on YouTube, they have these near-death experiences related. And they all are saying the same thing, how it's wonderful, the light was there, beautiful. This is the Brahmajyoti. And it's very attractive. But in the story of Gop Kumar, what happens? Shivji comes with a big kirtan party and grabs Gop Kumar quickly out of this place. Don't stay here. If you stay here, you'll get attracted to it. What is the attraction? It's complete peacefulness. If there's any other spiritual society in the world, except for the Hare Krishnas, basically, most of them are all focusing on this impersonal liberation, this shanti. In this age, everyone wants to be peaceful because it's so crazy, for the mind, etc. So they're thinking that the actual supreme goal is shantaras. But we know this is the lowest in the spiritual realm. It's like the upside down tree, isn't it? It's like it's the lowest. So we don't want to stay in that place of liberation. I'll continue here. What manifested in the form of creation is also I. So Krishna is saying that I am in that creation. Not only did I create it, but I am in it. And after annihilation, only I will exist. Now, this verse can be unpacked for 3 or 4 days, but we're moving along because we're heading in the direction of the Ras Lila. That's where we're going. But we are appreciating this. We are appreciating the gravity of where we're going. This path is very sober. What does chanting Hare Krishna mantra do to us? It brings us down from the intoxication of looking for pleasure in the external material world. It's intoxicating. There are so many objects that the senses can grab onto and think that they're getting pleasure from, right? Like a man who's intoxicated, he'll go for anything. So this is a great danger. So we want to sober the consciousness, bring the consciousness down to a grounded, sober, mature level. And then we will be strong enough to go the rest of the material creation, Maya Shakti. So this is the second Chatushloki. This also can be unpacked unlimitedly, but we're just going along quite quickly here. So now the third verse is really extraordinary. This is the rahasya. This is the secret. Yatamahanti bhutani bhuteshu cha anesha anu. Pravistyani aparavistyani tata teshu na teshu aham. The 5 great elements of material creation, earth, water, fire, air, and ether, enter into the bodies of all living entities. These 5 panch bhutas, they enter into the body of all living entities, high and low, from the demigods to the subhuman species. But at the same time, these elements exist independently. Wonderful. They're in everything, but they also have their separate existence. Similarly, I have entered into all living entities as the Supersoul, but at the same time, I am situated independently in my own Swarup. and I appear to my surrendered devotees both internally and externally. That means through our meditation and also through spurti or darshan like that. So this is the third Chatushloki. Very powerful, very powerful. All these Chatushlokis are powerful. So now the fourth, Etavad eva jignasyam tattva jignas sunatmanaha. And this means the person inquisitive about the truth of the self and the supersoul, Atma Tattva, should make inquiries always and everywhere through both direct and via an indirect yatrika means of deliberation about the supreme truth. This jignasavaha, inquiry into atata vignaso, this inquiry into where is that supreme truth. This is our particular purpose in life. Where is the supreme truth? If it's brought us to Radhakund, how amazing is that? We've really come on a rocket, so to speak. But we must also still be appreciative of where we've come from and where we're going. If we have this navigational focus clear in our personal compass, then we'll always stay steady and directed. It's so important because we know the casualties. I'm sure we all have stories of when we have deviated ourselves and when other friends have also deviated. So we should know all these dangers. Actually, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in that Madhurya Kadambini, he maps out the road so clearly. This Madhurya Kadambini is like the road map. So what are the potholes, etc. there? So all of this is explained. So after this chapter, which is the 9th chapter, then the 10th chapter of the second canto still, it's going to describe the 10 topics. What is it? Atra shago vishagas cha, stanam, poshanam, utaya, etc. These 10 topics are there that are being described by Shukadev Goswami, again, like stepping stones, so to speak. Once you know the 10 topics that are going to be there, then we have already developed some familiarity with the road. And then, so his Shukadev Goswami is so kind in this chapter. This is a very physically short canto. It's only 10 chapters. The first canto is 19 chapters. This is only 10. And then we cross over into the third canto with this fund of knowledge. Very simple. Fund of clear direction and focus, where we're going. We need that. If we don't have that direction, we'll just cave into speculation. Oh, I feel like this. I feel like that. My Gurudev used to say, yes, the heart and feeling are on one side, and Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra are on the other. You know, we have to train the consciousness, the mind, to see what is Shuddha Dharma, what is pure Dharma. Because at the moment, in its intoxicated state, it only wants pleasure from the Mayic realm. And we're starting to think, yes, that's my real nature. But that becomes bewildering. So now we come into the third canto, and it's only really and truly in the third canto that Srimad Bhagwatam begins. It's only in the third canto. We start off with the conversation between Vidura and Maitreya. Such beautiful conversation between Maitreya and Vidura. And then we come to that first manifestation of Varahadev. So this first manifestation basically is the real beginning of the Bhagavatam, because Srimad Bhagavatam means the history of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his history in his incarnations, and that first incarnation that is going to be described. There's all the incarnations described in the third chapter of the first canto, but not in detail. It's only when we come into the third canto that Varahadev is manifesting. So that's really the beginning of the Bhagavatam in a sense. We've just gone through the prelude. The first canto is like an introduction to all the personalities. And then the second canto, it's good. The second canto, it's running nicely. We have to be very concerned for our Wi-Fi here. We are in the most holiest places in existence on the planet, Radhakund. They have everything except Wi-Fi. Because Wi-Fi actually is like a demonic thing, really. All this electronics is not sattvic particularly. It's coming from the lower regions. But we're utilizing this to speak to 400 or 500 people around the world simultaneously. So they become encouraged when they hear this. So we're trying to share with them these things. So yes, we come to Varahadev, and then after Varahadev, it's the Kapiladev Sangvad is after Varahadev. No, it's the creation of by Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma. There's many chapters where Maitreya is explaining to Vidura many questions about the calculation of time, etc. This is in the third canto. And in the 12th chapter of the third canto, there's the first manifestations from Lord Brahma, the four Kumaras, etc., and Rudradev. And then after this comes Kapiladev Sangvad. So actually, this third canto we can divide into three sections. Let me just check that. Three sections. Yes, you've got the pastimes and the teachings of Maitreya Rishi, and then we've got the Kapiladev Sangvad with Devahuti and Kapiladev, who's manifesting Sankhya philosophy. So this is the third canto. So see the sequence that I've roughed out very briefly. First, second, and third. Then fourth, we come into far more pastimes that begins with the sacrifice of Daksha and the insulting of Shivji. And really, this is nothing but a glorification of Gopeshwar Mahadev. This is what this part is about. So there's about 8 or 9 chapters there on Daksha. And then we come to Dhruva Maharaj. And then this beautiful pastime of this determination of this young boy. And it's described specifically by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj. And I said yesterday also that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself would love this pastime of Dhruva Maharaj. It's not that every pastime has to be in the rasa arena to be filled with bhav. Actually, a rasik Vaishnava can find juice and sweetness in every single pastime of Krishna, because he's seeing it from a total perspective of all of Krishna's potency within each pastime. So after Dhruva, then is Prithu Maharaj. And after Prithu Maharaj are the Prachetas. So this is the sequence in the fourth canto, just in a nutshell, a few sentences. But the devotees should become familiar as much as possible with these chapters and what they represent and where they're going. They're going to the Rasa Lila. This is where it's all going to. We shouldn't stop on Prithu Maharaj. I can remember when I first read so many years ago, I loved this pastime of Prithu Maharaj. Such an example of rulership and extraordinary compassion and greatness. And I was so inspired, and for so long I would meditate on that. But now I appreciate that all of these are like stepping stones to bring us to the 10th canto. They're all to take us along to the 10th canto, to give us that qualification. So then we come to the 5th canto. In the 5th canto is Priyavrata to begin with. And then after Priyavrata, I think is Rishabdev. Let's see. Rishabdev, and Bharat Maharaj. Then after Bharat Maharaj is the pastimes of Bharat Maharaj and Jad Bharat, and becoming a deer. I think I've missed something out. Huh? Puranjan. No, that was in the 4th canto. No, I didn't mention it. That was, huh? Who? Gajendra's in 8th. Gajendra's in 8th, yeah. So we have Rishabdev, then we have Bharat, and then we have, um, then in the fifth canto, we go into the very amazing descriptions of Jambudvip and the whole cosmic manifestation, which is phenomenal to get the entire picture of this material realm. If we think, like as a child, we always think that we're like the center of the universe. So when Shukadev Goswami is speaking such broad descriptions of the entire Jambudvip, a sensitive person will reduce his idea of his own greatness, and that quality of humility perhaps will start to generate more strongly. So from there, and then we come to the movements of the sun, the orbits of the planets, the Shushumara planetary systems, the subterranean heavenly planets, the glories of Lord Ananta, and the description of the hellish planets. These are the final chapters in the fifth canto. So it's very, very broad, very powerful, very specific. And sometimes we marvel at the capacity of this one personality, Shukadev Goswami, who is carrying all of this abundant knowledge. But we should understand that all knowledge is being given by Krishna into his heart. So then, what is so extraordinary about that? Sarvasya Apolnam Cha. Krishna gives knowledge and remembrance. It's saying Bhagavad Gita 15:15 like that. So everything is coming from Krishna. But Shukadev, we understand also, was originally the parrot of Sri Radhika. And we described yesterday how it appears that he was a Brahmavad initially and was captured by his father when he went into the forest. As soon as he's born, remember the pastime of his birth? When he stays in the womb for 16 years, right? And then he communicates with his father. His father is begging him, "Oh, please take birth. You're giving so much pain to your mother." 16 years, a long time. This whole life, um, it's a whole life of a person. So mother is getting really disturbed, 16 years. So the father, Vyasadeva, requests, "So please," he will say, "I will come out when Krishna comes in front of me and assures me that I won't be infected with Maya." So at that time, Sri Krishna is on the planet. Vyasadeva brings Krishna, and Krishna assures Shukadev, "You will not be touched by Maya for the amount of time that a mustard seed can remain on the horn of a cow." So that's like a few seconds. And Shukadev, he took it. So he leaves home. Yam pravajantam anapatyam apitya. He leaves home and goes to the forest as if he was like a Brahmavad. But my Gurudev explains that this is just for Leela. He was never a Brahmavad. But he comes back because he hears these beautiful verses. What's that? Aho bakiyam stana kalakutam. That Krishna rewards Putana with a maidservant form in Goloka. This is the verse of compassion. And what's that other one? Baharpitam Natabaram Bapu Karaneo Karanikaram Vibradvasa. These beautiful verses from Venu Gita. Akshan Vatam Phalam Idam Na Paramam Vidama. Beautiful verses that attracted Shukadev back to the ashram. And then, so Shukadev is being influenced entirely by Krishna's desire to give us this Shrimad Bhagwatam. And then after the fifth canto, we come into the most beautiful sixth canto. And it begins with Ajamil. And now we're hearing the glories of the holy name, which is so powerful in this age because this is what Mahaprabhu has come to give. The holy name was present in all the ages, but it was never empowered the way it is in this age. Mahaprabhu empowers the holy name. That's why the holy name has so much potency, because Mahaprabhu, it was his decision to inject into the holy name immense potency so that we could cope with the devastation of this Kali Yuga. Not only that, that was secondary. but we would actually get the mercy to understand what is Rag Marg. Mahaprabhu has only come to demonstrate what is Raganuga Bhakti. That's why he's come. Premras Niryase Korite Ashvada. He's come to taste his own prem, number one, desire. And second, he's come to give Rag Marg locate to the world through the appreciation of what is Manjari Bhav, that Swabhakti Shriyam. This is what the Jiva is qualified for. He's not qualified for Sakhi Bhav. If you want to be a Sakhi in the spiritual world, you have to have a Sakhi who's going to give you that Sakhi Bhav. You can't just want to be a Sakhi. I can remember many times in the beginning, early days, we would read about the Ras Leela and think, oh yes, I want to be dancing with Krishna. But dancing with Krishna in that Sakhi Bhav is an incredibly intimate position. That sambhog with Krishna. That's called sambhog itamayi. And this is directly Radhika's Kaya Vyuha. They're actually directly coming from Radhika. But the Manjaris, they also are coming from Radhika, but Mahaprabhu has come to give this Manjari Bhav. That's what he's come. Swa Bhakti Shriyam. He's come to give this mood of Tat Tat Bhav Ichamayi, this mood of direct service to Srimati Radhika. This is what he's come to give through the empowerment of the holy name. The holy name itself will unpack this in our hearts and consciousnesses. It will give us that. The holy name. Cheto Darpana Marjanam, Bhava Mahata Bhagnivarpanam. All of these verses of the Shikshastikam are culminating in this appreciation. So this holy name in the 6th canto is very, very powerful. And then, my notes here. Then the Hansaguri appears. Then, Narad again becomes cursed by Daksha, second time. And then we come into about Vritrasura. There's 4 beautiful chapters about Vritrasura, which are remarkable. His courage, his exemplary behavior, his his beauty, it just melts the heart, this Vritrasura pastime. And then we have the Chitraketu pastime is described. Yes, Chitraketu, that pastime. So there's about 5, 6 major topics in that 6th canto. So now we've reached the 6th canto. 7th canto is what? Prahlad Charita. Everyone knows Prahlad Charita. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he says we should read this Prahlad Charita at least 100 times in our lives. Why? Because Prahlad exemplifies Nishta, this quality of Nishta. I cannot be separated from my goal. Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, he gives a beautiful explanation of Nishta. He says, when it's what's he saying? Nishta is that place which is it is impossible for me to go back into this anartha nivritti. My whole self is fully stable in my awareness of my eternal nature. Jivara Sarupoi Krishna Nityadas. I'm nothing to do with this temporary material world or anything that goes on in it. I have nothing to do with that. I can get no pleasure. The soul cannot enjoy matter. We should understand conclusively. There's no pleasure in this material world for the soul. But the mind, it will trick us and finds, because by nature the soul is ananda bhyasat, it's pleasure seeking. So if I'm not connecting with my soul, I'm going to be still wanting to find pleasure, and therefore I will have to look for pleasure in the material world. I'll be forced to, because my soul is a pleasurable state of consciousness. But that'll be distracting from the ultimate transcendental connection. So then, after the sixth canto, seventh canto, eighth canto is many beautiful pastimes about the devas. There's Gajendra to beginning, then there's Bali Maharaj, and many pastimes that Shukadev is giving in the eighth canto. And then Bali Maharaj principally is described. And Vamana Dev, yes. And then the ninth canto, which is just loaded with like Puranic stories, basically. We have Ramchandra is described there, and Durvasa Rishi, Ambarish Maharaj. There's pastime after pastime after pastime. But at the very end, Shukadev, he mentions the lineages, the dynasty, the kings, etc. And amongst them, he mentions Krishna. And as soon as he mentions Krishna, this is what Shukadev, what Parikshit has been waiting for. Parikshit had darshan of Krishna in the womb. Parikshit means examiner. He is looking all the time in his life for where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? Is this man Krishna? Is this person Krishna representative? He's looking like that. So when he hears Krishna's mentioned by Shukadev right at the very end of the ninth canto, then he inquires about this personality of Krishna. And then the doors of the 10th canto open. And then we begin. That's a beautiful place to stop. Perfectly. So we've opened the doors to the 10th canto today. We've covered the entire Bhagwatam in 2 days, from the very first verse to the meaning of Satyam Paramadimahi, and to the explanations, etc. And we've come right the way through. We've discussed Shukadev's devotion, and we've discussed the Chatushloki, and we've discussed all the cantos. So now we definitely all have some qualification to enter into the 10th canto. So tomorrow we'll begin the 10th canto. And then hopefully we might even touch on the doors of Gopi Gita, because that's where we're going. That's where we're heading. Srimad Bhagwatam ki jai. Gold Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Oh Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jaya Nityananda Rai, Jaya Nityananda Rai, Nityananda Rai, Jaya Nityananda Rai. Oh Jaya Sachinandan, Jaya Gaura Hari, Sachinandan, Jaya Gaura Hari. Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radhe. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe. O Radhe, 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 Radhe. Shil Gurudev ki jai, Rupanuga Guru Varga ki jai, Shrimad Bhagwatam ki jai, Radha Kund ki jai, Radha Govinda Dev ki jai, Anantakota Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bo, Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhu Vacha, Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnave Namo Namaha. Please, you all, you distribute these to everyone. Gora, pass these around. Take some Maha. No, just give in the hand.